called the Division of Auxiliary Enterprises, where you would bring together all of the business units under one head, and I was to be it. Had good experience, came back, started that new division. Having been back from Indiana for about 2 years, my boss called me in one day and says, Lassiter, let me tell you something about the heritage of Tuskegee Institute, Tuskegee being founded by Booker T. Washington. Since we have a strong commitment to enhance the community, and when we identify individuals that we believe have the potential to be of service in the community, we pull them aside and ask them to identify areas where they would wish to be involved in the community. And if we agree on that arena for involvement, you are free to engage yourself in it, even if it means doing those activities during the regular workday. Your only obligation is to keep your work up. I accepted that invitation and became intensely involved in the community of the Tuskegee. First, as a part of the Tuskegee Federal Credit Union. And then I became involved in the Tuskegee Housing Authority. I was the first African American to be named to the Board of Commissioners of the Tuskegee Housing Authority. Shortly after assuming the role of chair, the Civil Rights Act of 1965 was passed. And a part of that piece of legislation was that all public housing would be integrated. So it fell my task to integrate the Tuskegee Housing Authority, all of its housing developments, the staff, everything related to the housing authority had to be integrated. Mind you, this is Tuskegee, Alabama, Macon County, Alabama, the red clay area of Alabama, the extremely segregated area of Alabama. That was a defining moment for me, for we did integrate the Tuskegee Housing Authority. We did expand the inventory of public housing in Tuskegee, such that we had the largest percentage of public housing available to citizens of a community by size in the entire nation. And we were one of the first housing authorities to make it possible for individuals to purchase their home and not just be renters. A defining moment for me. In 1968, there was something called a sea change in higher education. That sea change being the demise of being local renters and the rising up of relevance at colleges and universities. Students began to take a more active role in their affairs. We had a situation at Tuskegee in 1968 where there were students in the engineering program who were not exactly pleased with one instructor who happened to be African American, and they wanted the dean to dismiss him. But that did not happen. They appealed to several vice presidents. That did not happen. They appealed to the president, and the president did not overturn the decision to not dismiss that faculty member. We had a board of trustees at Tuskegee that was what we call a national board. These were business executives who came from Wall Street, Detroit, Philadelphia, you name it. And they were there for a board meeting. They were meeting in a facility that I was responsible for, the Dorothy Hall Guest House. And as the trustees were engaged in their work, all of a sudden we saw a group of student activists descending upon the Dorothy Hall Guest House. These students had behind their backs chains. They chained all of the doors to the Dorothy Hall Guest House. and said, we're not going to let you out until you make the appropriate decision regarding that particular faculty member. The dean came down, tried to prevail on them to let's engage in dialogue and remove the change. They did not. Vice President came down, remove the change, let's dialogue. They did not. The President came down, let's engage in dialogue, remove the changes. They did not. The Chairman of the Board came down, let's engage in dialogue. Take the change on. They did not. Finally, the Sheriff of Macon County came, who happened to have been the first African-American sheriff in the state of Alabama, and said to the students, you are endangering the lives of citizens that I, as sheriff, am responsible for. If you do not remove the change, I will have no choice but to call the governor and to ask him to send the National Guard to Tuskegee, because this is a major safety issue. The students dismissed the sheriff.